Welcome back, everybody, to Just Like Nikki, and I'm Nikki. So, it's been such a long time since I made a video, hasn't it? It has. It really has. And the reason for that is because of a bunch of emotional and physical growth on my part. Um, you guys have known my first videos to be about epilepsy, and you guys have already known about my my path through that, and up to like 2016 and 2018 I went through a bunch of tests before then to figure out why I was having epilepsy and seizures, and I still support them, but up until that point, they re-diagnosed me with psychogenic non-epileptic events, and they suggested going to a therapist about it. I do recommend going to therapy if you feel like you really do need it. If your doctor strongly encourages you to go to counseling or to therapy, despite all of the uh, how far therapy has gone throughout the years and ages, I do recommend not skipping, especially if you have mental issues. Um, Part of that, I am going to look into possible talk with my doctor about possible depression, because there are some days that are worse than others. But for the most part, I am happy. I am thriving. It's just those certain days, and I guess it might not be depression. Maybe it's just something else. But um, anyways, but uh, again, the reasons why I haven't been making a video is because a bunch of things in my life has changed. 2019, I met somebody and I started dating again after a while. And the early 2020, I had just gotten like a second vehicle on a loan, and because I was tired of my mom complaining about me keeping a truck to myself when I have to work for it. So I got a second vehicle before 2020, or in 2020. And then a couple weeks later, I remember it was a couple weeks later, COVID. And then after a while of me working at Subway during 2020, we ended up shutting down, laying off some people, and I included was laid off. So I tried looking to get benefits again, off of unemployment, at least until I could find another job. But unfortunately, that did not work out at all. She tried applying for like workers unemployment benefits, and then I was going off on my own about my own. Um, Obviously, nothing worked, and I had to find a job fast, and I did. I managed to. I'm glad I went the route of getting another job, because a lot of people, I feel like, when they were on benefits, when you're working at a Subway, normally you're making, it depends on your store, you make at least 8.50 an hour, depending on where your store is, like what state you are in. Um, New Hampshire being like one of the most lowest minimum wage is like, I think 7.25 or 7.50, which is not right. I think they should raise it more. Um, and it's still been like that no matter what anybody says. You're getting more off of benefits from unemployment nowadays than you would any other like low kept job here. And I was lucky that that's not what my store was like. But anyway, so in 2020, got a new vehicle, or second vehicle, um, and kind of got a different job. I actually, after a year of working at that other job, I switched to a different job, which I have now, which is a factory job, which I get paid more than I've ever gotten paid. This is like the best factory I've ever worked at, and I mean, it's not like it's the best paid. It's not the best, because obviously there's always going to be issues no matter where you work, and I'm willing to overlook all that bullcrappery. And in 2021, last year, I had actually, I still been dating, right? And the guy that I've been dating since 2019, we've been together for almost 3 years. Come next year, it'll be fully 3 years, because we kind of had our first kiss. We kind of first started dating on New Year's Eve. It's kind of romantic, yes. So, it was a strike of 12 when we had our first kiss, and it was nice. And ever since, we've been madly in love. You'll never see his face on here. You'll never see any of my family on here, because I don't personally want to, unless they are agreeing to it. But obviously not like young kids or anybody who doesn't want to be on social media. That's perfectly fine. I'm not going to show them. So it's just going to really be me and nobody else, unless they want to. So you'll never see his face, but I could tell you, we're very happy together. And so much that he proposed to me on my 31st birthday of this year, and I am so happy. I can't stop looking at it. So next year will be our wedding, and then a bunch of other things that we need to do next year. So hopefully, just kind of preparing myself. So, the other reason why I wasn't making videos, because I wasn't really happy with the videos I was making, because they did not reflect who I was. And if you're not reflecting who you are in your videos, then you're kind of being fake, and it's not enjoyable at all. So, definitely a thing for me. Anyways, so I've been trying to figure out what kind of thing I've been wanting to make my video out of. And there was two things. One, swimming, but I don't actually have a lot of time for swimming, obviously. I love swimming. There's no pool around. There's only lakes and rivers. It's fine. And knitting and crocheting. I know both. And I realized that you guys, especially since 2020, everybody's been kind of picking it up. And there have been, I think, more of an explosion of videos about, like, people doing them, like TikToks especially. And I have a TikTok account. I just don't know how to use it. I don't know how to make a video there. I know how to make a video on YouTube. I just don't know how to edit. So this is as much as you're going to get out of me. So this is as real as anybody can get when it comes to making a video. But I know how to knit. I know how to crochet. I actually learned both from my mom. A little before high school, I suppose. I started around middle school crocheting. And then my mom kept, like, on and off. Like, here's the thing with me. When I learn something new, it takes me a while to get used to something. And then I just get so bored of it, I put it down because it makes no sense to me. And then after, like, a couple of years, I pick it up, like, oh, wait, I know how to do this. And then I actually find it more enjoyable. That goes with all the patterns for me. Like, learning a new pattern, it takes me some time to learn a new pattern. A lot of trial and error and a lot of frustration and putting it down and picking it back up and knowing exactly what I'm going to be doing. So it does take a while for it to click in my head what to do. And for knitting, it was hard. First of all, I was using aluminum needles, straight needles, for my very first set of needles. And why that is a bad thing, I'll talk to you about that in just a minute. But I was also, like, my mom didn't really do a whole lot of knitting. She crochets like an animal, but when it comes to knitting, it's like so hard to find her picking up a needle and knowing how to do it. She taught me a cast on that was with double needles. Like, you put two needles in the cast on, but the way that she cast it on made, like, this ugly lump in the very beginning. Like, it kind of looked like it was, I don't know, it looked weird. So I kind of went to YouTube to actually do that. So when I went onto YouTube, I actually learned how to knit from there. I knew two different ways of casting on, but one of them I prefer, which is the long tail cast on, which is a lot of people's preference. Sometimes I don't know what it is about the slip knot one. It just gets me frustrated. And I don't have the patience for that kind of thing. And I have a lot of patience for a lot of things, but just not that. It can easily get, like, you could do too tightly or too loosely on that. So long tail cast on is usually my way to go because it's a little bit more sturdy. And I've gotten used to it, but after a while of learning how to do it, I put it down and I didn't pick it up until like maybe high school. And I wish I had gone into the knitting club in high school because there was one. I just never really thought of me as being a knitter. So I kind of put it down after a while and just never really picked it up again until like maybe when I started working as an activities assistant at a retirement home. And then I kind of grew back into love with that. I think I actually started a little bit earlier, but not really because I didn't do a whole lot of activities then. It was mostly video games. And honestly, I suck at those too. Oh, except for Black Ops 2. I'm good on like a lot of different video games. Just like I'm not interested in a whole lot either because I don't know. I don't find them as interesting anymore. When you get to a certain point in your life and video games are not as important to you as they used to be when you're in high school, then that means you're growing up. That doesn't mean anything's gone wrong. It just means you're growing up and finding new things that are interesting. So I with my knitting, like I put it down. Wasn't interested until much, much later. And maybe when I retire, when I'm old, I'll kick some teenage butt and be like, smack that butthole. I don't know. So I just saw the rise in knitting, and I've been more interested in it since. So, like even more so that I gotten so addicted to it that if I'm at work and I'm not knitting at all, I'm like, I just want to go home and knit. Let me sit down and knit. And I can make hats, blankets, scarves, baby booties, baby hats. And I'm still working on a baby sweater that I don't even know if I'm going to finish because it's such an intimidating thing. I get so frustrated easily. But I think just, yeah. But I've been also watching a bunch of other YouTubers doing it, knitting ASMRs. They're comforting to me. Just there's some YouTubers that I enjoy. Copy Callie, I enjoy her a lot actually because it didn't take her long from being a crocheter to a knitter, kind of, I guess. But you know, I think watching her experience going from crocheting to knitting, and this is why I don't like crocheting. Crocheting is the most boring form of craft I have ever had to go through, and it's not its fault. It's me. It's just my preference because I prefer a little bit more challenge, and to me, crocheting is just a lump of yarn in big holes that it's just not interesting to look at. It's not interesting to wear. I prefer more closed stuff. Like, I would do crocheting maybe if I wanted to do like a lace like version, a light sweater or something if I wanted to. Even then, I still kind of have an issue with doing the. I mean, the patterns are so easy, and it's just I don't prefer. I still have crochet hooks on me. I still do once in a while crochet, but it's gotten to the point where it's so disinteresting. Like I'm so indifferent to it. I hate it. but I love knitting. So it's one of these days I'll get back into crocheting. I'll find that one thing I'll like about it, and I'll do that, and then I'll just put it down and go back to knitting because I cannot stand crocheting at all. And I commend people who do both because it is good to know, especially if you want to make your own clothing, and the material. If you're buying a $20 shirt, what does that say? That just says that if you can make a shirt or a couple like a sweater and a top with like $20 worth of yarn, that would be more worth it. But I don't know, when it comes to materials, I'm not a very materialistic person. Obviously I have a lot of stuff, and when it comes to yarn, I guess you can call that materialistic because I cannot part from my yarn. And when I find cute yarn, you best know that I'm coming for it. And please don't look at this eye. This eye is kind of like... So there's a sty here, and it's been going on for like months. And I've had like an ointment that I've been putting on for weeks and weeks, and it's gone down quite a bit, but it still has not gone away. Anyways, so just like I've been watching a bunch of like YouTubers and knitting and getting even more into knitting, and I think that'll be from now on what I'll be doing because it's something that I enjoy doing. I prefer to do, and if I can get like a decent camera with a tripod, or just like in general a tripod, because I have to put my phone, I only have my phone, and if I have to put it between my knees again or against something, like, these girls are always gonna be in my way no matter what, so you're gonna have to deal with this. I hate summertime because I cannot be conservative enough. I die because it's so freaking hot, and in the wintertime it's so cold it feels like I can't wear enough. But spring and fall is fine, just not summer. Not like, I've been trying to figure out how to do like summer knits for me, especially because, girl, what kind of knitting would I have to do for such a big bust to, like... I have different measurements, I suppose. I've got wide feet. I've got, this. I can make fun of my weight. I don't give a shit. I'm fat as hell, and I don't mind. I would like to lose a lot more weight because I feel like it'll make me more healthy. But I'm still trying to figure that out too, because I have my... It's the motivation. And if you guys can find any motivation, let me know what your motivations are, because I would like to figure out what my motivation would be. And I guess my motivation would have to be that I want to actually knit clothes that will fit me without me getting overly frustrated. But these girls keep growing and growing and growing to the point where it's like they bounce in my face if I were to go jogging or jumping or whatever the hell I do. And it's like, it's always in the way. And these are natural. So screw you, anybody who has unnatural titters, because these are natural, and I still hate them. I don't know how anybody wants to like get increase in size. I don't. I want to decrease. I want to shrink. I want to be teeny weeny little bitties, not the tig old bitties. Anyways, so there's one thing that I want to take out of this, and it's the last video that Coffee Callie did, and I recommended something to her, but I want to fully explain it. So here in New Hampshire, in the town of Peterborough, there is a like, I guess a self-business. This woman, I forgot her name. I already forgot her name. She had worked at a yarn store before, but she split off from that yarn store to make her own business. So it's a small business where she sells yarn, and I think she does her own hand spinning too. But she up here in this part of New Hampshire, we actually have alpaca yarn. So it's really like diverse. She also does sock yarn, which is perfect for like knitting socks and things like that. And I do recommend going to her because she's really nice and she does have a decent amount of like supplies there. And it's such like a nice homey feel to it. You walk in there, you already feel like you're part of it. And I actually went to some of their um, knitting clubs and the nights, on some nights, they do knitting club. And some girls from the town or even the town over, they come over, they sit down, we have a glass of wine, we share some stories, we do some knitting. And if you're allergic to cats, maybe that's not the best place for you, but she has a really cute, fluffy cat, and he's like the cutest thing. I think he's Maine Coon, um, but she she does a lot of like good things, and I think she does some hand knitting. Hand spinning. So I think you should give her a try. Kopi Callie, this is for you. If you ever come up to New Hampshire for like leaf peeping, and I do recommend you come up here at least once, maybe for the fall. Plan ahead if you can, but I do recommend coming up here because the trees. A lot of people south and west kind of come over and come up to like the New England area just because our leaves change to the fall. I don't know where else really to go leaf peeping besides New England because we're closer to like Canada or whatever, but I don't know if that's actually why. Anyways, but our four seasons they change very sloppily lately, but during the fall our leaves will change to like red, orange, yellow, uh, if I already said purple, I'm sorry, but purple. So there's like a lot of different color changes, and I think you would really enjoy it because one, it's a little cooler. I mean, a lot cooler. But two, you could probably get some good inspiration just out of the colors and out of like just the scenery itself. Like if you were to go hiking up Mount Monadnock in Jaffrey, I think it's in Jaffrey, between Jaffrey and Ringe. I think it's like a mountain in the central area, but um, it's really nice hike and it's very quiet up here. The towns are small, so it's more fitting, I guess, to kind of come up here and relax a bit. Um, I would definitely suggest you come up here and give the nitty gritty a try, and definitely come up here for like autumn if you can. Girl, you need to because it can be beautiful up here. And even Vermont, you can go to Vermont and like there's Ben and Jerry's, there's a cheese factory. I think it's Cabot Cheese factory in Vermont. I kind of want to go back to because I love cheese. I also love ice cream, but I'm not going to go into it right now because I'm fat enough. But if anybody wants any like autumn filled inspiration, definitely come up to New Hampshire or even Maine, Massachusetts, whatever, wherever you're coming from, and going to. I do think that New Hampshire, especially, because there are some nice local yarn shops that you have to try out. I haven't been to all of them yet, but I do highly recommend the Nitty Gritty because of my experience there, and it was really nice. And you get a lot of cute yarn, and I'm not going to get up and show you because I'm on a charger that's at a permanent 25% until I shut this off, so. I also have like a lot of yarn, so again, kind of, I need to go through them before I can go back there for more yarn. I don't think I personally want to deal with alpaca just because, like, cotton and alpaca, any kind of fur or wool, I don't want to have to deal with the shedding. If you guys enjoy things like that, like the natural fur and wool, I would definitely suggest getting it. And I think they might have mohair, but I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and look. But it's very well organized. It's so nice and homey. It's so small. I love it. And it's you get pretty much personal. They even do personalized training, and it's I think $15 for the basic stuff, and a little bit more for like magic loop sock knitting. I tried. I was like interested, and I told her, well, I would like to get into like knitting socks and things, and she's like, well, that's gonna cost a little extra just because it's a little bit more difficult to teach, a little bit more difficult to do, and as much as I love people doing magic loop, I don't do magic loop. I do double pointed needles because it makes it so much easier. Yes, there's still a lot of needles involved in it, but at least I'm not tugging and pulling and I don't know. I still have a lot of ways to go before I can do any other stitch patterns. Um, I know the feather and fan. I know like the heart lace and some other basics, ribbing. I want to do cabling, but there's not a whole lot of good videos about like the all the different types of cable knitting. And I'd like to see more of that. I would also like to see more of the plus size knitting. So anybody who is a knit creator, YouTube creator who does knitting plus size, I would love to get your tips and tricks on certain tops, like summer tops, winter tops, things like that. So if you guys want to keep doing what you're doing, definitely. And I will be looking forward to any video you guys make. And wherever you guys are, if you have time, you can subscribe and like to me because I'll probably be making more videos from here on out about knitting, and whether I want to do like an ASMR or just like a combination vlog, or I don't know, whatever, but I know it's definitely going to be knitting and I'm going to be making more videos about it. So you guys definitely uh, press subscribe if you're not already subscribed, press like if you like it, thumbs up, thumbs down, depends on how you feel about it. And yeah, again, I don't really do editing, so this is as real as it's gonna get. Um, yeah. Well, I'll see you guys later. All right. Bye.